Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. Freedom isn't just a preference for Sigma males, it's their lifeline. They'd rather walk alone in truth than stay chained in a connection that feels hollow. Not every man is wired to follow the typical path of dating, marriage, and settling down. Sigma males are a rare breed, men who value independence and authenticity above all else. They walk a different path, refusing to compromise their freedom or their sense of self for the sake of fitting in. Relationships, while meaningful to many, can often feel like unnecessary distractions to these lone wolves. It's not that they don't value connection, but they refuse to trade their peace and purpose for something that feels forced or transactional. If you've ever felt out of place in a world that insists you conform, there's a good chance you're a Sigma male, or at least on the road to becoming one. This video will reveal the real reasons Sigma males avoid relationships, offering insights, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of why they make the choices they do. So stick around and discover what sets these men apart and why they don't apologize for it. Number 1, emotional clutter is their kryptonite. Sigma males are wired differently. They crave mental clarity and thrive in an environment where their thoughts are sharp, focused, and free of unnecessary noise. Relationships, no matter how well-intentioned, often introduce a level of emotional clutter that feels more like chaos than connection. To a Sigma, emotional demands, whether it's constant reassurance, decoding mixed signals, or navigating the ups and downs of someone else's feelings, can feel like a heavy weight pulling them away from their natural state of focus. It's not that Sigma males are cold or incapable of emotion. On the contrary, they feel deeply but choose to channel those emotions into things that matter most: personal growth, ambitions, and pursuits that align with their purpose. They view emotions as tools, not as a force to be endlessly indulged in. When emotions serve no clear purpose or bring no clarity, they see them as distractions, cluttering the mental space they've worked hard to protect. For Sigma males, relationships often come with an unspoken expectation of emotional availability, always being on, always giving pieces of themselves to meet someone else's needs. To them, this feels less like intimacy and more like a drain on their energy. They don't want to sacrifice their inner peace for a dynamic that may leave them constantly explaining, compromising, or appeasing. Their resistance to emotional clutter is a form of self-preservation. Sigmas aren't afraid to walk away from situations that threaten their mental clarity, even if it means being misunderstood or labeled distant. They'd rather stand alone in a world of calm, with their minds sharp and their energy intact, than drown in the chaos of a relationship that demands more than they're willing to give. For a Sigma, clarity isn't optional, it's essential. Number 2, they reject performative intimacy. For Sigma males, authenticity is non-negotiable. They have no patience for the scripted routines that often accompany relationships: small talk that leads nowhere, affection that feels rehearsed, or gestures performed more for show than for genuine connection. To them, this is not intimacy, it's a performance. And if there's one thing Sigma males can't tolerate, it's being part of a show where everyone pretends to feel or be something they're not. The world of modern relationships often thrives on appearances, with people doing things simply because they're expected to. Whether it's endless text exchanges, public displays of affection, or exaggerated emotional responses. For a Sigma male, these unwritten rules feel forced and unnecessary. They don't see the point in playing along just to check off some imaginary relationship to-do list. If the connection isn't real, if it isn't raw and unfiltered, they'd rather not bother. Sigma males crave depth in everything they do. They'd rather sit in meaningful silence than engage in superficial conversations designed to fill the void. They'd rather express affection in subtle but profound ways than plaster on a smile and go through the motions. To them, true intimacy isn't about what others see, it's about what's real when no one is looking. Anything less feels fake, and they can sense it immediately. This refusal to engage in performative intimacy often sets them apart. They're not trying to play hard to get or act aloof, they're simply unwilling to dilute the truth of who they are for the sake of appearances. If someone expects them to conform to shallow social norms, they'll walk away without hesitation. For a Sigma male, intimacy only matters when it's stripped of performance and built on something undeniably real. Number 3, independence feels too good to sacrifice. For Sigma males, independence isn't just a preference, it's a way of life. The ability to control their time, energy, and decisions is the ultimate freedom, one they refuse to compromise. They've carefully built routines, habits, and priorities that align with their goals, and the thought of altering these for the sake of a relationship feels like surrendering their most prized possession, autonomy. Relationships by nature require compromise, splitting time, merging priorities, and often putting someone else's needs ahead of your own. For a Sigma male, this can feel like a slow erosion of the control they've worked so hard to maintain. It's not that they can't care for someone else, it's that doing so often requires sacrifices that clash with their fiercely independent spirit. Even minor adjustments, like giving up their alone time or altering their plans to accommodate someone else, can feel like shackles tightening around them. To a Sigma, independence is more than just freedom, it's clarity, peace, and the ability to fully own their life. They value their solitude, their ability to pursue passions without interference, and the sense of calm that comes from knowing they answer only to themselves. Relationships, no matter how loving, often bring expectations that feel restrictive, sharing decisions, compromising schedules, and navigating emotional demands. This isn't about selfishness, it's about alignment. Sigmas understand that true happiness for them lies in staying true to their nature. They don't want to resent their partner or feel trapped by obligations. Rather than risk this, they choose independence every time. For them, the cost of losing their autonomy is simply too high. Independence isn't just what they want, it's what allows them to thrive. And for a Sigma male, thriving on their own terms is non-negotiable. Number 4, modern relationships feel transactional. Sigma males have a way of seeing through the surface, and modern relationships rarely escape their scrutiny. To them, today's dating landscape feels less like a connection between two souls and more like an unspoken transaction. Whether it's the expectation of constant validation, material exchanges, or emotional labor traded for affection, the entire dynamic can feel like a shallow give-and-take arrangement. This transactional energy grates against their deep need for authenticity and makes modern relationships feel more like obligations than meaningful bonds. Sigma males are hyper-aware of social cues and patterns. They notice when actions are done not out of genuine care, but to earn something in return, be it attention, loyalty, or status. They see through the veneer of romantic gestures performed to meet societal standards or to maintain an image. This lack of sincerity doesn't just disappoint them, it outright repels them. Relationships built on this tit-for-tat mentality feel hollow and manipulative, as though affection and effort are commodities to be bartered rather than freely given. For a Sigma, love and connection should flow naturally, untainted by unwritten contracts or hidden agendas. They aren't interested in keeping score, nor are they willing to play the games that often accompany modern dating. This perspective isn't about cynicism. It's about refusing to settle for anything that feels fake or forced. They would rather opt out entirely than invest in something that doesn't feel real. Their avoidance of transactional relationships isn't about avoiding commitment, it's about preserving their integrity. To a Sigma male, relationships should be grounded in mutual respect, understanding, and authenticity. If that's not on the table, they'd rather walk away than compromise their values. For them, the real deal is worth the wait, but they won't settle for anything less. Number 5, they refuse to settle for mediocrity. Sigma males operate with a mindset that prioritizes quality over conformity, and this extends deeply into their views on relationships. For them, the idea of settling isn't just about choosing the wrong partner, it's about the overall experience of the relationship itself. They're not interested in something average, predictable, or mundane. A relationship to them should elevate their life, not drain it. If it doesn't inspire, challenge, or align with their values, they'd rather walk away and fully embrace the freedom of singlehood. It's not that Sigma males have impossibly high standards, it's that their standards are immovable. They're not looking for perfection in a partner, but for a connection that feels meaningful and extraordinary. Mediocrity, whether it's in emotional depth, intellectual connection, or shared purpose, is something they simply cannot tolerate. They believe that life is too short to settle for relationships that are built on convenience or societal pressure. While some may view this as stubborn or overly idealistic, Sigmas see it as a commitment to their own authenticity. They would rather invest their energy into their passions, personal growth, and ambitions than into a relationship that feels uninspired or routine. To them, Being single isn't a limitation, it's a deliberate choice to maintain their standards and protect their peace. Their refusal to settle is often misunderstood as arrogance or fear of commitment, but it's neither. It's a refusal to live a life of compromise, where their time and energy are spent on something that doesn't align with their vision. For Sigmas, living an extraordinary single life, full of purpose, freedom, and self-discovery, is far more fulfilling than being trapped in mediocrity disguised as a relationship. It's not about waiting for the perfect person, it's about never betraying their own values. And number 6, they have a zero tolerance for drama policy. Sigma males have no patience for drama at all. To them, the chaos that often accompanies relationships, whether it's jealousy, passive-aggressive behavior, or petty arguments over insignificant issues, is nothing short of toxic. They thrive in environments that allow them to maintain their mental clarity, and the moment that peace is disrupted, they shut it down. They don't care for emotional outbursts or the games that often come with relationships. If there's any hint of unnecessary drama, they'll walk away without hesitation. Sigma males are fiercely protective of their inner world. They've worked too hard to create a life of balance, focus, and autonomy to let someone else's unresolved issues or emotional baggage throw them off course. They have strong boundaries and won't tolerate behavior that disturbs their sense of peace. Whether it's someone stirring up tension or constantly creating conflict over small things, they simply won't engage. They'd rather be alone than deal with the constant emotional roller coaster that comes with drama-filled dynamics. This zero-tolerance policy isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about protecting their emotional and mental well-being. Sigma males believe that genuine relationships should be built on respect, open communication, and mutual understanding, not on petty games or emotional manipulation. They don't need to be right or win arguments. They just need the peace to continue living their life on their own terms. In their world, drama is a distraction, one they have no time for. When a Sigma male detects it, he removes himself from the situation. For them, serenity and stability are far more valuable than a relationship riddled with unnecessary conflict. If drama becomes a constant, it's a clear sign that the connection isn't right, and that's when they walk away. Peace is non-negotiable. Number 7, they're hyper-selective about who gets access. Sigma males are incredibly selective about who they allow into their lives. They don't hand out their trust or emotional energy casually. For them, relationships are not just about shared experiences or superficial connections. They're about genuine alignment with their core values and vision. This is a man who understands the power of vulnerability, and he knows that sharing his true self is a rare and valuable thing. So if someone doesn't resonate with who he is or where he's headed in life, they won't even get a chance to enter his world. The idea of opening up to someone who doesn't truly understand or respect his principles feels like an invasion of his personal sanctum. He has carefully curated his life to protect his time, energy, and peace of mind. Allowing the wrong person in means risking unnecessary drama, emotional baggage, and worst of all, a misalignment of priorities. The Sigma male isn't willing to compromise his well-being for the sake of a relationship. This selectiveness isn't about being cold or distant, it's about preservation. Sigmas know that their time and energy are precious, and they'll only invest in relationships that are rooted in genuine connection, respect, and shared purpose. They're not afraid to walk away from potential connections if they don't feel a deep resonance. In fact, they'd rather remain solitary than waste their time with relationships that are not authentic or fulfilling. For a Sigma male, intimacy is earned, not given freely. And once someone does gain access to his life, it's a privilege that is carefully protected. To enter his inner circle is to be trusted with the most valuable parts of him, and that's not something he gives out easily. Number 8, self-protective instincts. Sigma males have a deeply ingrained self-protective instinct that guides nearly every aspect of their lives. They know that relationships, no matter how genuine they may seem at first, often carry emotional risks. These risks can manifest in various ways: betrayal, manipulation, or even simple misunderstandings that can lead to long-lasting emotional damage. They understand that no matter how much they may connect with someone, the vulnerability required to open up to another person comes with the potential for harm. This knowledge is something they carry with them as a constant reminder that intimacy is not always the safe haven it's made out to be. Because of this awareness, Sigma males are naturally cautious about exposing their true selves to others. They recognize that once they let someone into their inner world, they lose some degree of control over what happens next. The idea of being vulnerable, of allowing someone access to their deepest emotions and thoughts, is not something they take lightly. To a Sigma, the potential for emotional harm outweighs the temporary comfort of connection. This instinct to protect themselves is not rooted in fear but in self-preservation. They don't want to risk being hurt, and they certainly don't want to waste their time with relationships that are likely to lead to disappointment or betrayal. For a Sigma, it's far safer and more fulfilling to keep their emotional boundaries intact. They are not interested in the emotional games that come with relationships, and the idea of navigating that minefield feels unnecessary when they're perfectly capable of finding peace and fulfillment on their own. In a world that often leaves people feeling vulnerable and exposed, Sigma males trust themselves to stay whole, regardless of the risks relationships may bring. Number 9, their goals are relentlessly non-negotiable. Sigma males live with a relentless sense of purpose. Their goals are not just aspirations, they're their very reason for waking up every day. Whether it's mastering a particular skill, building something meaningful, or chasing a vision that only they truly understand, everything revolves around this mission. Relationships, with their inherent demands and emotional obligations, are often seen as distractions that risk derailing their focus. For them, love and companionship are secondary to their drive for success. They know that if they compromise on their goals for the sake of a relationship, they risk losing everything they've worked so hard to build. Their ambition is a non-negotiable force in their lives. Sigma males don't view their pursuits as something to be adjusted or sacrificed. They view them as part of their identity. Every decision they make is aligned with their long-term vision. Romance, no matter how alluring, can't pull them away from what they've set their sights on. They see relationships that demand too much of their attention or energy as a hindrance, not a complement to their journey. This isn't about rejecting love, it's about prioritizing what truly matters. Sigma males are committed to their purpose, and they're not willing to jeopardize it for fleeting emotional satisfaction. If a relationship doesn't align with their vision, or starts to take too much away from their ambitions, they'll let it go without hesitation. For a Sigma, achieving greatness in their own unique way is more important than any romantic connection. The pursuit of success is their passion, and they won't allow anything to stand in their way. Number 10, they see compromise as a dangerous trap. For Sigma males, the concept of compromise in relationships isn't a sign of strength, it's a trap. While the world often praises compromise as the glue that holds relationships together, Sigmas see it as a subtle form of self-sacrifice that chips away at their core identity. To compromise means to dilute their values, goals, and ambitions to make room for someone else's needs, and that's a price they are simply unwilling to pay. They don't see relationships as an arena where they must constantly bend or adjust to accommodate another's expectations. Sigmas have a clear understanding of who they are, what they want, and where they're going. Their purpose is non-negotiable, and any relationship that requires them to sacrifice these vital aspects of themselves is seen as a threat to their own personal growth. They don't want to meet in the middle. They want to find someone who fully understands and respects their individual path. While others may view compromise as a necessary element of love, Sigmas see it as a slippery slope that could lead them to lose sight of their own ambitions and desires. For them, relationships should be an extension of their personal journey, not a distraction or a detour. If a relationship forces them to compromise their beliefs, their goals, or their sense of self, they'll walk away without hesitation. Their refusal to compromise isn't about being rigid or selfish. It's about self-preservation. Sigma males understand that their journey is unique, and they refuse to dilute it for the sake of fitting into someone else's mold. They're not looking for a partnership where they have to sacrifice their true self. They're looking for one where both parties support and encourage each other to be their best without the need for compromise. The harsh truth is that Sigma males don't avoid relationships because they're incapable of love or connection. They avoid them because they've learned to value their peace, independence, and mental clarity more than the fleeting comfort of emotional chaos. They're aware of the risks that come with opening up to others, and they choose to protect themselves rather than risk being hurt. Relationships to them often come with too many compromises, too much emotional clutter, and a lack of authenticity that doesn't align with their core values. But here's where you, as a Sigma female, stand out. You understand this journey. You know that being yourself is the most important thing, and you're not afraid to walk a different path from the rest. Just like a Sigma male, you embrace your independence and value your emotional peace above all. You don't settle for the superficial, the transactional, or the inauthentic. Your standards are high because you know your worth, and you refuse to dilute who you are for anyone. And if a relationship doesn't align with that truth, you'll keep moving forward, focused on your goals, your growth, and your journey. So if you're a Sigma, know that you're not alone in your perspective. Your clarity, your focus, and your ability to walk through life with such integrity are what make you rare and unstoppable. Embrace that, trust yourself, and keep your heart guarded, but open enough to recognize the rare, worthy connections that might just come your way. Don't compromise, don't settle, and never lose sight of your truth. Keep pushing forward, and your journey will speak louder than any relationship ever could. See you in our video. God bless you.